The stars above the Milky Way burned like endless candles in a black ocean. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far beyond the known trade routes, a mighty empire prepared for war. The Zarathi had ruled for thousands of years. Their fleets were built from alloys stronger than any human metal. Their computers calculated faster than lightning, and their warriors had crushed countless young civilizations. To the Zarathi, every new species was nothing more than a stepping stone to greater control. They believed no one could stop them. From their distant throne world, the Zarathi High Regent received a simple report. Strange signals had been detected from a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. The signals were not random noise. They carried music, voices, and mathematical patterns. The creatures who sent them called themselves humans. The report explained that these humans had only recently learned how to travel beyond their own planet. They had built small colonies on their moon and Mars. Their weapons were primitive compared to Zarathi standards. The High Regent smiled with cold amusement. Another fragile race, he said to his advisors. They will kneel, as all others have knelt, but not every Zarathi shared the Regent's confidence. Elder strategist Virath, a veteran of many campaigns, studied the intercepted transmissions carefully. He watched recordings of human speeches, read their scientific documents, and listened to their music. There was something unusual about this species. Their history was filled with struggle, wars, disasters, and endless conflicts, but instead of destroying them, these hardships had made them stronger. They adapted quickly to every challenge. Their curiosity pushed them to explore dangerous frontiers. Vareth warned the council, "They are small now, yes, but their minds burn bright. If we attack too late, they will not be easy prey." The council laughed at his caution. The Zarathi had defeated empires far older and larger than Earth. To them, humans were only children playing with rockets. The Regent ordered preparations for a swift conquest. Fleets began to gather in the dark spaces between stars. Their plan was simple: strike fast, crush the colonies, and force the leaders of Earth to surrender before they even understood what was happening. Far away, unaware of the growing danger, humanity was busy chasing dreams. On the bridge of the exploration ship Aurora, Captain Alara Voss watched the crimson clouds of Jupiter swirl beneath her vessel. Alara was young for a starship captain, but her record of daring missions and calm leadership had earned her the trust of the United Terran Fleet. Her crew worked around her, scanning for new mineral deposits and testing long-range sensors. Space was quiet, filled only with the hum of engines and the distant crackle of cosmic radiation. Then a faint signal appeared on the edge of their instruments. "Captain, I'm picking up an odd pattern," said Ensign Malik, the communications officer. "It's not natural. The frequency is too precise." Alara approached the console. The signal pulsed like a heartbeat, steady, deliberate, and far stronger than anything a natural source could produce. "Is it a colony transmission?" she asked. "No, ma'am. It's coming from deep space. Too far for any human beacon." Alara felt a chill. Humanity had sent probes to the stars, but nothing this far. Someone or something was out there. "Record everything," she ordered, "and send a priority report to the Fleet Command." Back on Earth, scientists at the Terran Council analyzed the data. The signal repeated a complex mathematical pattern, one that could not be accidental. Some experts celebrated. "Intelligent life at last," they said. The dream of first contact seemed within reach. News channels across the planet exploded with excitement. Children imagined alien friends. Politicians prepared speeches about peace and cooperation, but not everyone felt joy. Admiral Kane, head of the United Terran Fleet, watched the data with a soldier's caution. "No one sends a signal this strong without a reason," he said in a closed meeting. "This is not a greeting. This is reconnaissance." The council debated for days. Some argued for open communication. Others demanded stronger defenses for the colonies on Mars, Titan, and the asteroid belt. In the end, they chose a careful middle path. Probes were sent to trace the signal, while the fleet quietly increased patrols. Earth prepared for the unknown, but many still believed it was only a scientific curiosity. Weeks passed. The probes followed the signal to a sector of space beyond known charts. There they found nothing but empty darkness, no stars bright enough to host life, no planets to explore. Yet the signal continued, as if mocking their efforts. Then just as suddenly it stopped. On the Aurora, Captain Voss studied the last transmission with a growing sense of unease. "It's like they wanted us to find it," she whispered to Malik. "A test, or a warning." Far beyond human reach, inside a fortress hidden within a nebula, the Zorathi High Regent watched a holographic image of Earth. Their stealth probes had mapped every major city, every colony, every fleet movement. The Regent turned to his generals. Humanity is bold but unprepared. Their weapons are weak, their politics divided. We strike at their colonies first. Their leaders will surrender before our fleets even appear in their skies. The generals bowed. War preparations accelerated. Massive warships, each the size of a small moon, gathered in secret staging areas. Silent communication networks pulsed with orders. For the Zorathi, this was routine, another easy victory to expand their rule. Yet something restless stirred among the humans. On Titan Station, miners reported strange flickers of light in the outer dark. On Mars, long-range scanners caught brief shadows moving faster than any known ship. The fleet tightened patrols, but no one could explain the sightings. Captain Voss sent her own warning to the Terran Council. If someone is watching us, we must be ready. Curiosity is no shield. On Earth, ordinary people went about their lives unaware of the gathering storm. Children played under bright city lights. Scientists planned new missions to distant moons. Artists painted visions of a peaceful galaxy. Humanity dreamed of discovery, not destruction. But the galaxy had other plans. In the cold void where the Zorathi fleets waited, elder strategist Vareth stood alone on an observation deck. He stared at the faint glow of the Milky Way, troubled by thoughts he could not share. He had studied humans more than anyone else in the Empire. He saw in them a spark of danger, a will that refused to die. He whispered to himself, unheard by the soldiers preparing for battle. They are not like the others. If we strike them, we may awaken something even we cannot control. The silent threat moved closer with every passing hour. Humanity still celebrated the idea of friendly contact. The Zorathi prepared for conquest, and across the endless stars, destiny began to weave a path that would test the courage of an entire species. The first shadow of war had fallen, though few humans yet understood it. Soon the blue planet would face a challenge greater than any in its history. Soon the Zorathi would learn the truth behind a simple fact. Humans do not surrender easily. The blackness of space stretched endlessly around Titan Station. From its giant viewing dome, Saturn's golden rings glowed like a frozen halo. The miners and engineers who worked there loved the quiet beauty of this distant world. To them, danger meant a leaking oxygen line or a malfunctioning drill, not war. But on this night, danger came from far beyond anything they imagined. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, now docked at Titan Station for resupply. Her eyes moved across the sensor screens as she listened to reports from her crew. The mysterious signal they had traced weeks ago had gone silent, but her instincts told her the story was not over. "Any movement on the outer perimeter?" she asked. "Nothing, Captain," replied Ensign Malik. "All patrol ships report clear skies." Ilara nodded but felt no comfort. Too many strange readings had been dismissed as sensor errors. Tiny flickers of energy, faint shadows where no ship should be. Something out there was testing their defenses. She tightened her jaw. "We are being watched." Far beyond Saturn, in a dark sector without stars, the Zorathi fleet prepared to strike. Massive warships floated like silent predators, their hulls absorbing light until they seemed like pieces of night itself. The High Regent's orders were clear: destroy the Titan colony first. A swift attack would break human morale and show the United Terran fleet that resistance was useless. General Scythor, commander of the invasion, reviewed the final plans. "Our stealth fields will keep us hidden until we fire," he told his officers. "The humans will not even know we are there until it is too late." The fleet began its silent advance. Gravity engines bent the space around them, allowing the ships to slip forward faster than light without leaving a trace. They moved with the calm confidence of a species that had never known defeat. Back at Titan Station, the night shift continued as usual. Miners checked drills, children played in low-gravity parks, and traders prepared shipments of methane ice. On the Aurora, Ilara paced the bridge. A sudden alarm shattered the calm. "Captain," Malik shouted. "Unidentified energy surge detected at the edge of the system. Multiple sources." Ilara's heart pounded. "How many?" "Dozens, no, hundreds of signatures. They're moving fast." The station's defense grid came alive. Automated turrets rotated toward the dark sky. Patrol ships scrambled from their docks. Admiral Kane's voice crackled over the emergency channel from Earth. All forces, prepare for contact. This is not a drill. Moments later, the stars themselves seemed to split apart as the Zorathi fleet emerged from stealth. Giant warships unfolded like black wings across the void. Their hulls gleamed with strange lights and their weapons pulsed with deadly energy. The first shot came without warning, a beam of violet fire that sliced through a patrol ship, turning it into a cloud of molten metal. Panic rippled through Titan Station. Families ran for shelters. Alarms echoed through every corridor. The Zorathi moved with terrifying precision, targeting defense satellites and communication relays. Each blast lit the darkness with cruel beauty, but humanity did not freeze. "Launch all fighters," Ilara commanded. "Protect the station!" The Aurora detached from the dock, engines roaring. Small Terran fighters streaked into the battle like sparks from a flame. They were slower and weaker than Zorathi craft, but their pilots fought with desperate skill. They twisted through enemy fire, using sudden turns and unpredictable maneuvers that confused the enemy sensors. General Scythor watched from his flagship, annoyed. "Their tactics are chaotic," he said. "No discipline. Destroy them all." Yet the chaos was a strength. Human pilots flew as if they were playing a dangerous game, making moves no Zorathi computer could predict. They used asteroid fragments for cover, launched decoys to draw fire, and coordinated attacks through quick voice signals instead of predictable digital codes. Ilara guided the Aurora into the thick of battle. Her ship's shields flared as enemy blasts struck, but her crew returned fire with every cannon they had. "Focus on their smaller ships," she ordered. "Break their formation." The Aurora targeted a Zorathi escort vessel, pounding it with missile after missile. The alien ship's shields flickered, then collapsed in a burst of white light. A cheer erupted on the bridge. For the first time, the humans had destroyed a Zorathi warship. Across the battlefield, similar victories began to appear. Outnumbered and outgunned, human pilots refused to retreat. Each fallen comrade only fueled their determination. Even miners joined the fight, launching heavy cargo drones filled with scrap metal to ram enemy fighters. Inside his flagship, General Scythor's frustration grew. "They are not behaving like the others," he muttered. "They should be broken by now." Elder Strategist Vayreth, watching from a secondary vessel, felt a strange respect. "I warned the Council," he said quietly. "Humans adapt." The battle raged for hours. Titan Station suffered heavy damage, but it did not fall. Human engineers worked under fire to keep shields active and power flowing. Civilians carried supplies to wounded soldiers. Children sang old Earth songs in the shelters to keep fear away. Every person, fighter or not, refused to give up. At last, the Zorathi fleet began to withdraw. They had destroyed several human ships and damaged the station, but their own losses were higher than expected. General Scythor ordered a retreat to regroup. The High Regent would not be pleased, but continuing the fight risked further humiliation. As the alien ships vanished into the void, a strange quiet returned to the system. Wreckage floated among the rings of Saturn, glowing softly in the reflected light. Terran fighters limped back to their docks, some trailing smoke and sparks. On the bridge of the Aurora, Ilara looked around at her exhausted crew. "Status?" she asked. "Shields at 20%, weapons offline," Malik reported. "But we're alive." A small smile touched Ilara's lips. "Alive is enough for today." Admiral Kane's voice returned over the channel, firm but proud. "You have done more than survive. You have shown them that humanity does not kneel." Across the colonies, the news spread like fire. For the first time in recorded history, the mighty Zorathi had been forced to retreat. Families mourned their dead, but they also celebrated. Humanity had faced an enemy older and stronger, and endured. On the hidden Zorathi command world, the High Regent listened to the battle reports in silence. His generals spoke of unexpected resistance, unpredictable tactics, and heavy losses. When they finished, the Regent's eyes narrowed. "They are clever," he said, "but this is only the beginning. We will return with greater force. Humanity will learn the price of defiance." Elder Strategist Vayreth stepped forward. "With respect, Regent, we must not underestimate them. Each encounter makes them stronger. If we delay, they will adapt faster than we can respond." The Regent waved a dismissive hand. "Adaptation will not save them from the full might of our empire." But Vayreth remained uneasy. In his long life, he had studied many species, and none had shown such stubborn creativity in their first battle. The humans had fought like cornered predators, reckless, cunning, and fearless. He wondered if the Regent understood the danger. Back at Titan Station, repairs began immediately. Engineers worked through the night, patching holes and restoring power. Pilots shared stories of daring escapes. Children drew pictures of Terran fighters standing victorious against giant alien ships. Captain Alara Voss stood alone in the viewing dome, watching Saturn's rings shimmer in the distance. She thought of the families who had lost loved ones and the brave soldiers who had refused to yield. Her heart ached for the fallen, but she felt a fierce pride as well. "They came to frighten us," she whispered. "Instead, they have awakened us." The first clash was over, but the war had only begun. Humanity had faced the darkness and survived. Now they would prepare, learn, and grow stronger, and somewhere in the endless void, the Zarathi planned their next move, unaware that each attack would only feed the fire they sought to extinguish. Part 3. The turning point. The quiet after the Titan battle was thin and uneasy. Titan Station still floated in Saturn's orbit, patched with fresh metal plates and glowing emergency lights. Repair drones moved like fireflies around the wounded colony. Inside, the sound of welding and the steady thrum of engines filled the air. Humanity had survived, but survival was not victory. Everyone knew the Zarathi would return. Captain Alara Voss walked through the docking bay of the Aurora, greeting crew members as they worked. Engineers checked shield emitters, pilots cleaned fighter wings, and medics treated the last of the wounded. Alara's steps were steady, but her mind raced. The Zarathi attack had revealed both danger and opportunity. They were powerful, yes, but not invincible. Admiral Kane arrived on a secure shuttle from Earth. His uniform still carried the dust of Titan's mines as he joined Alara in the command center. "You fought well," he said, offering a firm handshake. "But we both know this was only a test. They will strike again, and next time they will not underestimate us." Alara nodded. "Then we need to strike first." Kane raised an eyebrow. "You mean a counterattack?" "Not a full war," Alara replied. "A mission. We need to understand them. Find their weakness. The Titan fight showed they bleed. We need to know how and why." The Admiral studied her face for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "What do you propose?" "Operation Mirror," Alara said. "We capture one of their ships intact. We learn their technology and their command structure. If we can break their coordination, we can fight on equal ground." The plan was dangerous. The Zarathi ships were larger and faster. Capturing one without destroying it would require stealth, precision, and luck. But the Terran Council approved the mission. Humanity could not win a war with courage alone. They needed knowledge. While the fleet prepared, scientists on Earth studied every scrap of data from the Titan battle. Engineers examined fragments of Zarathi wreckage pulled from Saturn's rings. The alien metal was stronger than anything humans had forged, yet its energy patterns revealed flaws. The Zarathi relied heavily on central command signals. Disrupt those signals, and even a mighty warship could be confused. On the other side of the galaxy, the Zarathi High Regent gathered his generals. Reports of the Titan clash were troubling. Losses had been heavier than expected, and the humans had destroyed several ships despite their weaker weapons. "They adapt too quickly," said General Scythor, still smarting from his retreat. "Their chaos defies our calculations." The Regent's eyes narrowed. "Then we crush them before adaptation becomes mastery. Assemble the Grand Fleet." Elder Strategist Vareth remained silent at first. He had seen this pattern before. Empires overconfident, enemies underestimated. Finally he spoke. "Regent, haste may strengthen them. Each battle teaches them. If we continue without understanding, we may build their legend instead of ending it." The Regent dismissed his warning. "Legends die with their people." While the Zarathi prepared their next assault, the Aurora slipped quietly from Titan's dock. Operation Mirror had begun. Alara commanded a small strike group of stealth ships, their hulls coated with experimental shadow plating that bent light and radar. Their mission: locate a lone Zarathi cruiser, disable it, and capture it before reinforcements arrived. Days passed in the silent dark. The strike group traveled through hidden corridors of space, using gravity slings and asteroid belts to mask their path. Crew members whispered in hushed voices, aware that discovery meant death. Even the smallest mistake could give away their position. Finally, Malik reported a target. "Captain, we have a single Zarathi vessel patrolling the Kuiper Fringe. Size matches a medium cruiser. No fleet support in range." Alara studied the screen. The ship drifted near a cluster of ice dwarfs, its black hull reflecting faint starlight. Perfect. Prepare the trap. The humans deployed a network of signal jammers and decoy drones. When the Zarathi cruiser moved to investigate the false readings, the Aurora and her escort ships pounced. Ion cannons fired, striking with surgical precision. Energy beams disabled the enemy's main engines before it could call for help. Inside the Zarathi ship, alarms blared. The crew fought to restore power, but the human assault was too fast and too focused. Boarding pods slammed against the alien hull. Terran Marines in armored suits stormed through the corridors, moving with practiced discipline. Laser fire echoed through the strange metallic halls. "Secure the command deck!" shouted Lieutenant Reyes, leading the boarding team. Minimal damage to the control core. After a tense 30 minutes, the cruiser fell silent. The Zarathi crew, realizing they were outnumbered, surrendered, a rare humiliation in their history. Alara stepped aboard the captured vessel, her eyes sweeping across alien symbols glowing faintly on the walls. The air smelled faintly of ozone and unfamiliar minerals. "Begin data transfer," she ordered. Every byte could save lives. Back on the Aurora, engineers worked around the clock to decrypt the alien systems. The captured databases revealed more than anyone expected. The Zarathi Empire was not the unified giant it pretended to be. It was a patchwork of rival warlords held together by fear of the High Regent. Communication between fleets relied on centralized relay nodes. Destroy those nodes, and the Empire's fleets would stumble like a giant with broken legs. Admiral Kane received the first decrypted files and smiled grimly. "This changes everything. They are strong, but their strength is brittle." While humans celebrated the success of Operation Mirror, tension grew within the Zarathi hierarchy. News of the captured cruiser spread through secret channels. Rival commanders whispered of weakness. Some border sectors began withholding tribute, testing the limits of the region's control. In the Zarathi throne room, the High Regent listened to reports of rebellion with cold fury. "How can a young species cause such disorder?" he demanded. General Scyther bowed. "We underestimated them. Their tactics are unpredictable." The Regent's eyes burned like molten metal. "Then we will teach them fear. Assemble every fleet. We will burn their colonies until nothing remains." But Vareth stepped forward, risking the Regent's wrath. "Regent, fear is no longer enough. Each battle gives them knowledge. If we attack blindly, we strengthen their resolve and weaken our own unity. They are no longer prey. They are a fire." The Regent glared but said nothing. The strategist's words lingered in the cold air like a shadow of doubt. Back on Titan Station, Ilara stood before the Terran Council via hologram. Leaders from Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies listened intently as she explained the captured data. "The Zarathi are powerful but divided," she said. "If we target their relay nodes, we can cut their fleets off from Central Command. Without coordination, their warships will fight like isolated islands. This is how we survive." The Council debated late into the night. Some feared provoking an even larger assault. Others argued that inaction meant certain defeat. Finally, the decision was made. Humanity would not wait. They would strike at the heart of the Empire's communication network. As preparations began, a new spirit spread across the colonies. The fear that once filled every corridor gave way to determination. Miners volunteered to work double shifts to produce more ship armor. Scientists shared designs freely, breaking old rivalries. Pilots trained day and night, their eyes sharp with purpose. Humanity was no longer a scattered collection of colonies. They were becoming something new, a united force. Ilara walked the outer decks of Titan Station, watching the stars glitter like distant fires. The captured Zarathi cruiser floated nearby, now under Terran control. Its black hull seemed to absorb the light around it, a silent trophy of human courage. "We can win this," she whispered to herself. "Not because we are stronger, but because we refuse to stop learning." The Zarathi had come expecting easy conquest. Instead, they had awakened a species that thrived on challenge. Every battle, every loss, every scrap of alien technology became a lesson. Humanity was evolving in real time, faster than any empire could predict. Far across the galaxy, elder strategist Vareth gazed at a star map and felt a chill of both fear and admiration. He knew the truth his regent refused to see. The humans were not merely surviving. They were becoming the most dangerous kind of enemy. The turning point had come. The Zarathi believed they still controlled the game. But with each passing day, the hunters were slowly becoming the hunted. The captured Zarathi cruiser hung silently near Titan Station, its black hull a reminder of humanity's boldness. Inside, engineers worked tirelessly to reverse engineer alien technology. Every wire, every console, every weapon system became a lesson. Humans learned quickly, merging Zarathi systems with their own designs to create hybrid ships and improved weapons. What was once impossible now seemed within reach. Captain Ilara Voss stood in the control room of the Aurora, staring at holographic maps of the Zarathi fleets. Intelligence from the captured cruiser revealed a weakness that could not be ignored: the Empire's communication network. If humans disrupted the relay nodes that connected the Zarathi fleets, the Empire would fracture. Individual fleets would be left to act alone, vulnerable to human tactics. "This is our chance," Ilara said to her officers. "We can strike before they regroup. But we need precision. Any mistakes and the Zarathi will destroy our colonies." Lieutenant Reyes nodded. "We've trained for this, Captain. We know the risks." The plan, called Operation Radiant Dawn, was simple but daring. Human forces would target multiple relay nodes across Zarathi space simultaneously. Small strike teams would infiltrate enemy territory, avoiding patrols and disable the nodes. Meanwhile, the Aurora would lead a decoy fleet to draw attention away from the real targets. Timing, coordination, and courage would decide the outcome. As the fleet moved toward the first relay node, every crew member felt the weight of history pressing on them. They were no longer defending Titan or Mars. They were challenging an empire. The human fleet was smaller, slower, and lighter, but determination surged through every heart. They fought not because they were strongest, but because they refused to surrender. The first strike team deployed from stealth ships, gliding silently into the orbit of a Zarathi relay platform. The facility floated above a barren moon, enormous and heavily armed. Energy beams lined the surface, ready to strike any intruder. Humans advanced carefully, using low-gravity jumps and stealth shields to avoid detection. Inside the relay node, Zarathi engineers worked unaware that disaster was approaching. Terran Marines moved through corridors, planting charges to disable power cores. The alarms sounded too late. Explosions rippled through the facility as humans retreated under covering fire. From orbit, the relay went dark, its connection to the larger network severed. At the same time, the Aurora and the decoy fleet engaged a smaller Zarathi task force. Energy beams clashed with shields, filling space with sparks of violet and blue light. Human pilots twisted their craft in ways no Zarathi ship expected, using the chaos to draw attention from the real strike teams. Ilara's voice rang through the comms. "Keep them focused on us. Do not let them see the true mission." The deception worked perfectly. While the Zarathi concentrated on the decoy fleet, human strike teams disabled 3 more relay nodes across the sector. Each relay lost weakened the Empire's ability to coordinate. Fleets that had once moved like a single organism now stumbled in isolation. Confusion spread quickly among Zarathi commanders. Orders were delayed, misinterpreted, or ignored. Chaos, once feared by the humans, became their ally. Back on the Aurora, Ilara watched the Zarathi network crumble in real time. "They are falling apart," she whispered. "This is our moment." Human forces pushed the advantage. Hybrid ships equipped with alien weapons struck the fractured Zarathi fleets. A single human squadron could now take on multiple enemy vessels. Quick maneuvers, combined with superior strategy, overwhelmed the disoriented alien crews. Zarathi warships collided with each other or drifted helplessly in space, their crews struggling to restore control. On one battlefield, Lieutenant Reyes led a squadron against a group of cruisers separated from Central Command. Using ambushes and decoy drones, the humans disabled the cruisers one by one. When the dust settled, the squadron hovered over a small field of wreckage, victorious but exhausted. Reyes contacted the Aurora. "They're weaker than they've ever been. Humanity is winning, Captain." Meanwhile, Admiral Kane coordinated strikes across multiple systems. Humanity's hybrid technology allowed them to move faster, react more quickly, and adapt to unexpected challenges. The Zarathi, powerful though they were, had never faced an opponent that learned in real time. Every attack, every failure, every clever tactic made humans stronger. Inside Zarathi command, panic began to spread. The High Regent received reports that entire sectors were acting independently. Fleets that should have obeyed orders were lost, retreating, or engaging targets randomly. Some commanders, fearing rebellion from below, refused to follow instructions. The empire that had ruled 1,000 worlds now struggled to control a single sector. Elder strategist Vareth watched the collapse with a mixture of fear and awe. "They are stronger than we imagined," he murmured. "This is no ordinary species. If we continue, the empire itself may break." The regent, furious, demanded immediate retaliation. "Send the Grand Fleet. Crush them at all costs." Vareth shook his head. "It may be too late. They are no longer prey. They are a force we cannot predict." On Titan Station, Alara received the news of the Empire's disarray. The Council called a meeting to plan the next phase. Maps of the galaxy flickered with red zones where human forces had struck successfully. Every relay node destroyed was another victory. Every Zorathi fleet disoriented was another step toward freedom. Alara addressed the Council with a calm but resolute voice. "This is not just a battle for survival. It is a chance to shape the future of our species. If we act wisely, we can end this war before it destroys us. But we must strike decisively. We cannot afford hesitation." Preparations began for the final push. Human fleets moved like lightning through fractured Zorathi space, striking isolated warships and disabling remaining relay nodes. Every engagement taught humans more about alien tactics. Every victory strengthened morale. Humanity, once the hunted, was now the hunter. At the same time, civilians across human colonies contributed to the effort. Engineers produced faster engines, scientists developed better shields, and miners built hybrid weapons from salvaged alien materials. Every person, whether on Titan, Mars, or Earth, played a role in the fight. The war was no longer just a military campaign. It was a collective effort of an entire species. Captain Alara Voss watched the progress from the bridge of the Aurora. Stars stretched like rivers of light across the black canvas of space. The Zorathi fleets were scattered, their communication crippled, their confidence shaken. "They came to crush us," she whispered. "Instead, they have unleashed humanity's true strength." In the shadows of a distant nebula, Elder Strategist Vareth received a communication from the High Regent. The message was terse: "Prepare all fleets. We cannot lose to these humans." Vareth smiled faintly, knowing that the Empire's threat had already passed its peak. Human courage, ingenuity, and adaptability had transformed them into an enemy the Zorathi had never faced. Back at Titan Station, celebrations were muted but heartfelt. Families hugged their loved ones. Pilots shared stories of daring maneuvers and miraculous escapes. Engineers discussed new designs for hybrid ships. Humanity had fought back and struck the first decisive blow. The galaxy, once silent under Zorathi dominion, now hummed with human ingenuity and determination. Alara looked out at the stars, thinking of the battles ahead. The final challenge would come, but humanity was no longer fragile or naive. They had learned to strike, to adapt, and to fight as one. "They will remember us," she whispered. Not as prey, but as a force that refused to bow. The Zorathi had underestimated humans at every turn. Their empire, built on fear and control, was crumbling under the weight of its own arrogance. Humanity had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the oldest empires. The turning point had come, and the future now belonged to those brave enough to fight for it. The galaxy trembled under a quiet storm. For centuries, the Zorathi Empire had ruled vast territories of space, its fleets moving like shadows across countless worlds. Yet now, the mighty empire faced a crisis it could never have imagined. Its communication networks were fractured, its fleets scattered, and its commanders uncertain. Humanity, once the hunted, had become the hunter. Captain Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her eyes scanning the map of Zorathi systems. Every relay node destroyed, every cruiser disabled, every alien commander forced to retreat marked a new step toward freedom. The human fleet had grown stronger, fueled not only by hybrid technology but by lessons learned in countless battles. Every engagement had sharpened their skills. Every victory had forged their unity. Admiral Kane's voice broke the silence. "This is it, Alara. The Imperial Nexus, the center of their command. If we strike there, we can end this war." The Imperial Nexus was a fortress in deep space, surrounded by artificial gravity wells, cloaked fields, and layers of defensive satellites. No species had ever breached it. No Zorathi ship had ever been captured inside it. The mission would be dangerous beyond imagination. But the humans were no longer ordinary. They had faced impossible odds before and had survived. Alara's gaze hardened. Prepare the fleet.
Stealth ships first.
Strike teams ready. This is our chance to show them humanity cannot be conquered. The fleet moved with a careful precision that mirrored the humans themselves. Disciplined, adaptive, and intelligent. Stealth ships slipped past outer patrols, cloaked in shadows that bent light and sensors. Strike teams prepared boarding pods while the Aurora led the main fleet as a decoy, drawing attention and keeping the Zorathi guessing. Inside the Imperial Nexus, the High Regent paced with fury. Reports of the human attacks reached him constantly. How can a young species cause so much chaos? He demanded. Generals tried to explain the fractured communications, the destroyed relay nodes, the scattered fleets. But the Regent could see only one solution: annihilation. Send every ship we have. Burn them from the stars, he ordered. Elder strategist Vareth watched the Regent, silently noting the desperation in his eyes. They are no longer prey, Vareth muttered to himself. They are a force of change. Too late to stop them. Human strike teams approached the Nexus in silence, gliding past gravity fields and patrol satellites. The air inside their pods was thick with anticipation. Every soldier, every pilot, every technician knew the risk. If they failed, thousands would die. If they succeeded, the war could end before it spread further. Ilara monitored the operation from the Aurora. Sensors picked up multiple relay towers inside the Nexus, heavily guarded by Zorathi firewalls and energy shields. Focus on the main relay, she instructed. Disable it and we sever their command completely. The boarding teams landed on the surface. Hallways lit with faint alien symbols stretched into the darkness. Laser fire echoed as Terran Marines moved swiftly, neutralizing resistance without unnecessary casualties. Zorathi soldiers fought bravely, but without central coordination they could not mount a unified defense. Humans used stealth, deception, and improvisation, skills the aliens had never faced. In the command core, Ilara and her strike team encountered the central control panel. Encrypted energy flows pulsed across its surface. Lieutenant Reyes interfaced with the system, fingers flying across Terran consoles translating human codes into alien commands. The main relay tower flickered. Then with a sharp pulse of light it went dark. Across the galaxy, Zorathi fleets paused in confusion. Ships that had moved in perfect formation now drifted aimlessly. Some collided. Others fired at empty space. Chaos ruled where order once reigned. For the first time in thousands of years, the Zorathi were lost. The Aurora led the human decoy fleet into the heart of the Nexus's outer defenses. Energy beams clashed, filling space with streaks of violet and blue. Hybrid weapons fired with terrifying precision. Human pilots moved unpredictably, striking at the disoriented enemy and retreating before the Zorathi could recover. Ships that once seemed invincible now burned in silence, drifted into asteroid belts, or were captured intact. Inside the Nexus, Ilara addressed the captured High Regent via the communication interface. His image flickered with anger and disbelief. "You are nothing," he shouted. "We have ruled the galaxy for millennia." "You cannot defeat us." Ilara's voice was calm, steady, unyielding. "We are not here to kneel. We are here to survive, and to show you that underestimating humanity has a price." Vareth, watching the scene unfold, felt a mixture of awe and dread. Humanity had not just survived, they had reshaped the galaxy. In the history of countless worlds, no species had ever achieved so much so quickly. Their courage, intelligence, and adaptability were unmatched. The final battle raged for hours. Human strike teams disabled the last relay nodes. The Zorathi fleet was scattered, their ships burning or drifting without control. The High Regent's command structure collapsed entirely. By the time the smoke cleared, the once mighty empire was no more than fragments. Across the galaxy, Zorathi leaders who survived retreated to isolated sectors. Some hid on barren moons, others fled to uncharted space. They could no longer command, unite, or conquer. The empire that had dominated the stars for millennia became a memory, a cautionary tale of arrogance and underestimation. Back on Titan Station, humans celebrated with quiet joy. Families embraced. Engineers shared tales of bravery, and pilots recounted daring maneuvers that had turned the tide. Humanity had not only defended itself, they had rewritten the balance of power in the galaxy. Ilara stood once more on the observation deck of the Aurora, looking at the stars. She thought of the soldiers who had died, the civilians who had contributed in ways no one would ever fully know, and the countless people who had refused to surrender even when the odds seemed impossible. Humanity had proven itself, not through sheer strength alone, but through courage, ingenuity, and unity. An empire fell, she whispered, but we did not destroy for glory. We fought to survive, to protect our people, and to show that no one is untouchable. In the far reaches of space, Elder Strategist Vareth sent a final message to the remnants of the Zorathi leadership. Learn from this. The universe does not favor the arrogant. He knew it would likely go unread, but the lesson remained true. A species that underestimated humans had paid the ultimate price. On Earth, Mars, Titan, and the outer colonies, people looked to the sky with pride. The once distant threat of conquest had been turned into a story of survival and triumph. Humans celebrated not for vengeance but for their indomitable spirit. They had dared to face the impossible, and they had prevailed. Captain Alara Voss addressed the United Terran Fleet, her voice broadcast across the galaxy. We sought no empire. We sought no throne. We fought because we had to and because we would not bow. Let this be known to every corner of space. Humanity survives, humanity adapts, and humanity never yields. As her words echoed across the stars, the galaxy seemed to pause. The Zorathi Empire, once feared, became a cautionary memory of pride undone. Humanity, small but unbreakable, had shown the universe that courage, intelligence, and unity were forces stronger than any empire. And among the stars, countless species watched and wondered. If humans could survive, adapt, and overcome such a foe, what might they achieve next? The battle was over, but the legend had just begun. Humanity would continue to explore, to learn, and to grow. The galaxy would remember forever that those who dared to challenge humanity had found only ruin.